Hello and welcome to Storyboard. We've got our eye on the IPL today. A week into the 5th edition, the Indian Premier League has turned in its lowest opening ever in terms of TV viewership. What may be more worrying is the fact that reach has shrunk for the first 6 matches after 4 consecutive years of rapid growth. There are fewer broadcast sponsors and far fewer specially made for IPL campaigns. So what's going on? How should we interpret these signs for the future of this made-for-TV tournament? I'm going to get 3 people to weigh in. From broadcaster MSM, that's showing the IPL matches on setbacks, we've got Rohit Gupta. Representing tournament and broadcast sponsor Vodafone, we've got Anuradha Agarwal. And from the media audit firm Spatial Access, industry veteran Meenakshi Madhwani. It's lovely to have all 3 of you here on the show. Rohit, I've got to start with you. You've always told us that nobody buys cricket for the ratings, they buy it for the reach. With the kind of reach numbers that have come in for the first 6 matches, you must be a worried man.
Well, it's early days. Like I said, we expect it to grow now because you see, what's the good part about this is that the stadiums are full, so there's a lot of interest happening there. So if you go to any stadium,
that doesn't help
full.
you, does it?
It does, because it does have impact on television viewing. When you have empty stands, if you remember in season 2, when it went to South Africa, the first few games were actually lower. Then till the time the stadium started picking up, the ratings actually went up. We expect the same to happen because if you look at the last 4-5 games have been very closely fought games. You actually need just 2-3 games to do well, which are closely fought games, which then build the interest levels. So we hope to pick it up. Coming back to ratings, while you might look at it at a lower level, but when you look at it from an advertiser perspective, it's still a rating of, in most of the TGs which buy cricket, is rating over a 5. Now, when you compare that to what's available in the Indian television scenario, it's still very, very good. So,
but this is the IPL. Why should you compare it to what's available? It was setting all these benchmarks, isn't it?
5 in IPL is also very good.
3.76, isn't it?
No, that's on a
4
CNS 4 plus.
Yeah.
Nobody buys CNS 4 plus. So, if you look at advertisers when they buy,
so
which is
hopeful.
I'm saying that when you're holding on to a 5 plus rating on a 15 plus TG, that's good on a male or some of the other TGs. It's still good. We expect that to build up. We're certain that it'll build up, and that's and that's why we're cautious about it. Obviously, we want it to do well because we've got another 5 years with it.
Let me find out. Are you feeling reassured from what you're hearing, because you and Vodafone, therefore, are the biggest investors on the IPL, both at the, as a tournament or ground sponsor, as they say, and as a broadcast sponsor. You're also one of the few advertisers this year who've actually launched a made-for-IPL campaign, which is tradition, and it's great. But, so you've got a lot riding on this campaign. Does what Rohit say make you feel good?
See, like you said, we've had an association with the IPL for the last 5 years. This is our 5th year running. So we've seen the hope, the fantastic ups in the first 3 years, and then a little bit of the down last year. If you ask me, last year was the big surprise. Did we come into this year thinking that we'll get the same reach as last year? Yes. Did we come in thinking we'll reach a very large population of the target audience that we want to go to? Yes. And both these objectives are still being met.
So, but the fact that the reach is lower in the first 6 matches, is that something that you're looking at closely?
Not really. I think for a tournament like this, for an activity like this, you have to look at the reach over a really long period of time.
So you're saying you'll wait till the final?
I'll definitely wait for the first 4 weeks. Honestly, it's not, once I've invested, it's not like I'm going to exercise any choice during the tournament.
Obviously, but I'm saying that you're willing to stay faithful. Obviously, you're going to stay invested, but you're going to keep the faith. Let's put it like that.
Absolutely. I think that the IPL is one of the biggest properties on Indian cricket.
It's also, I mean, you've told Storyboard recently that this year you've managed to get for Vodafone the best deal it has ever got from Sony. So, which also means
that's for Rohit to tell you.
Which means, Rohit, it sort of substantiates the point that we've been reporting, that you have less sponsors this time, and it has been a hard sell, isn't it?
Certainly. I mean, otherwise you would be full up by now. See, for us, this tournament is not about 1 year. It's a long time. So we're very clear we're not going to drop rates. Then we also have supporters on the tournament like Vodafone who've been with us for, so who've been with the, like she's mentioned,
what are you
the highs and the lows.
attributing the fact that there is a cooling off? Because I know Meenakshi has, a lot to say on that. I just want to get to hear what you have to say.
Certainly last year's rating, as Anuradha said, it's last year's rating where people were skeptical what's going to happen. And these are large investments. It's not it's not that you put in 4-5 crore rupees. The investments are large. So you're a bit hesitant and skeptical about waiting for the ratings to happen. Like I said, if you look at the kind of campaign, the marketing buzz which was created before this season was on lines with what happened in season 2, both from BCCI's front and
absolutely. You all have upped your marketing investment.
Huge. And that's the reason why people are coming back into the stadiums, coming to watch the games. And that's happened. So clearly, I think that confidence, once the tournament starts, that confidence starts to build up with the advertiser.
So you're saying slow start?
Yeah, it's a slow start, no doubt about it. But yeah, the kind of currently, as we speak, the kind of deals which are under negotiation right now are quite a lot. So we expect a lot more closures happening because the people who are spot buyers who are sitting on the fence waiting.
How much ad inventory do you have still with you?
We have still about 30 to 40% inventory left. So which we hopefully should be able to cover in the next, actually it's a 6-week tournament. So we will cover quite a lot of it there.
Meenakshi, you've heard, the broadcaster, you've heard one of the biggest sponsors of the IPL. There's definitely a cooling off. They're upping their marketing spend and support for the tournament. Is that what this tournament needs? Is it a marketing solution that this property needs? Or is the authenticity something that people have called into question? Because, before the IPL starts, every year it's tradition to have pre-IPL drama. Has the authenticity come under question? Because advertisers have maintained over the years, as long as viewers believe in the tournament, we are there. And advertisers are now saying we are not there.
First of all, let me say that, my heart goes out to Rohit, okay? Because I think Rohit's done an amazing job in holding fast and selling the tournament. And I must, consider people like Anuradha and Vodafone who've backed it year after year after year. But in my opinion...
And benefited hugely in the first 3 years.
Absolutely.
3 years.
Absolutely. But in my opinion, the IPL has some serious issues with it that need to be addressed, both by the broadcaster who has the rights, the advertisers who are interested in this event, and the BCCI. At the end of the day, IPL this year is, and this is my prediction, I'm willing to stake my neck out, is not going to perform as well as IPL last year.
So it's going to be worse than IPL 4, which was worse than IPL 3.
Absolutely. And last year, everybody used the World Cup as an excuse and said because of the World Cup, there's too much cricket, so on and so forth. I think what's really happened is the character of IPL, somewhere along the line, has got diluted. See, what it was meant to be was a tamasha.
Yeah.
Okay? IPL was pumped up. It was on steroids. The problem is you can't live on steroids 24/7. And all the elements that made it something that was really exciting for the masses have slowly gone away. The cheerleaders may not have been critical in themselves, but they added to the entire tournament. And that's the fundamental problem with IPL. The highs in the tamasha and this whole business,
was so high that you had to come off.
That now everybody is getting off an addiction. And unfortunately, what is on offer today is not as exciting as what was on offer in year 1 and even year 2 for that matter, all the way in South Africa. Rohit talked about the empty stadiums.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, the empty stadiums have a big impact on what happens with the ratings. But the fact of the matter is people must want to go to those stadiums.
Meenakshi, I think you're setting the tone for, what I want to discuss now, which is where does the IPL go from here and what do people who've invested in it go on to expect? So we'll take a break, but when we come back, should IPL advertisers reset their expectations? And more critically, can the stakeholders afford to let that happen? You know just how much money they've got invested. We'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back. On this Storyboard special, we're talking about the latest edition of the IPL. We've got used to the headline-grabbing numbers that the IPL has generated ever since it started. So, MSM paid close to 9,000 crore rupees for the TV rights. The Sahara Group paid nearly 2,000 crore rupees to own the Pune Warriors. And Kolkata Knight Riders spent 12 crore rupees for Gautam Gambhir. When you're talking of that level of investment, is it possible to reset expectations and therefore the value that advertisers will pay for the IPL? Still with me in the studio, Meenakshi Madhwani of Spatial Access, Anuradha Agarwal of Vodafone, and Rohit Gupta of MSM. Meenakshi, I want to start off with you. Is a reset possible?
Well, let me tell you, I think a reset is critical for the survival of IPL. Okay, like Rohit said, it's not that the numbers are bad. The ratings of 5 and 6 are pretty good, but the problem is the expectation is sky high. And those are the numbers that have been delivered in the past. And every advertiser is today sitting on the fence and saying, that's what I want. That's what IPL means to me. And unless there is a reorientation of expectations, the tournament is going to, just keep on going steadily downhill.
Can you afford that? But we know how much money you've spent on this. Can you afford it? Can the team owners afford it? Anuradha will be happy if that happens, but can you guys let that happen?
See, I don't
Or
think
do you have to let it happen if you have to survive eventually?
See, I don't think there's a need for a reset at this stage, because eventually, whatever people might say, it still is the biggest property on Indian television, and it will continue to be so. And if you look at, the kind of rate, prices which are paid in India. I mean, today the same brands don't mind paying $1 million or $1.5 million for a 30-second spot, in the Super Bowl, and the same brands, find it difficult to justify this kind of amount. And these are all global brands. Eventually, like I said, it's the kind of delivery which this tournament does, and we'll continue to deliver. If there might be a 5%, 10%, up or down, which might happen, but it's not that the tournament has reached a level of a disaster where it's not delivering that kind of numbers. Today, even if you look at it on a 4-week platform or a 3-week campaign, you still deliver a 60% plus reach. So I think that, if that starts getting eroded over a period of time, there could be a reset. I think it's too early to start looking at.
So you're saying not reset yet, but Meenakshi is saying reset yet.
Yeah, and can I interrupt?
About the Super Bowl comparison.
No, forget the Super Bowl. If 10 days into the tournament, okay, Rohit is saying he still has 30-35% of his inventory unsold. Okay, that means that a reset is required, because in the past he has always sold 90% of his inventory upfront. And let's face facts, at the end of the day, Sony has bought a tournament at a certain price, expecting certain outcomes.
And I've just launched a special sports channel, finally, the first time in their bouquet, on the back of this tournament, I'm guessing.
Yeah, again, coming back to a pricing issue, all right? It's not that the first 6 games are going to determine, what happens. Like Anuradha said, we got to wait and watch for another 4 weeks and see what it delivers. And we're quite certain that that's not needed, because if you look at the Indian television industry across, I'm not talking about sports right now, there's been a growth which is happening. I mean, we've seen our basic trading levels go up across various genres over the last 3 to 4 years, and sports will also continue to grow.
Let me get the woman with the money to weigh in now.
Absolutely.
Your Vodafone is locked in for 5 years. So this, as a tournament sponsor for the IPL, so this is your last year.
That's right.
How are you evaluating this property? Do you see yourself coming back at the level that you have supported it for 5 years?
I think finally, after 5 years, it's now going to become a very efficiency-led buy.
So she's saying reset. Read her lips.
She said efficient.
So it has to be efficient. And if you ask me,
but does that mean reset?
So let's say this.
She says reset is efficient.
Actually, I don't understand what reset means, because it's about expectations.
You start from scratch. You determine values from scratch.
So to a certain extent, if you ask me, and that's why I was talking about a good deal this year, I think advertisers are doing that automatically. It will be a question of market forces one way or the other, and it will happen if the tournament does not deliver up to expectations. Automatically expectations are reset. So the conversations that we had last year were different from the conversations that we had this year. And I think none of us are unaware of that situation. Having said that, as an advertiser, when I'm looking for a way of reaching the mass of Indian population, when I have to reach my 150 million customers, what options do I have apart from a Hindi soap and an occasional film fare? I have to go on to cricket. People are going to watch it. The question is, can I make it more exciting? I mean, yes, we'll always try and work together to make that thing more exciting, whether
Fair
it's
enough.
for people to
So-
watch our ads or to watch the cricket.
Fair enough. So, Meenakshi, is there, these are two people invested in it. So, this is what they're going to say to defend their product, and more power to them.
Absolutely.
But my question is that an advertiser like Maruti Suzuki has said that they're not on TV this year at all, but they've gone online. They've gone on to the online broadcast of the IPL. Is that something that television also needs to, that television will need to watch out for, is increasingly being competitive, because at 1/10 the price, and in fact even cheaper, you get perhaps similar kind of reach?
See, I think, Anuradha, looking at digital as being a threat to television is like,
Yeah, so
my question to you would be, what have you been drinking or
so I'm
smoking
getting
or
ahead of
whatever?
myself. But a large advertiser
Having
like Maruti
said that-
Suzuki said, I can afford to do without TV this year.
Correct.
But
Absolutely.
they never bought IPL in the past.
The point
LG is not on TV.
But LG has
And
not
has
bought
got
any single
Godrej.
big property since the World Cup.
Can I
So it's
tell
not
you
a fair
something?
comparison. There might be other reasons why they're not buying IPL.
No, and
all
the
right?
point is that
So
it's
if-
not- you're
just
saying-
a sec,
you're saying-
just a sec.
okay, yeah, okay.
If LG was buying all of the cricket properties,
Yeah.
I mean, during Diwali, they did not buy one single large impact property. There are reasons elsewhere, not IPL. It's not our pricing, it's not
Okay.
the delivery.
Okay, fair enough.
Irrespective
And
of
it's not
what they
television
might
either,
say.
as Meenakshi
Irrespective
said.
of what
It's not
the people from
television
LG
either.
might say. And unfortunately,
They have been saying,
They've
yes,
been
I
saying
know.
it. Now, I can say that if they were buying any other cricket or impact property and buying cricket or not buying ours, there could be a reason. But they've not bought anything. So I
Okay.
think the reasons there are totally different. It's
Okay.
more internal, their budgets, the way the business is doing, rather than saying that IPL will not work for them.
Right.
And-
so,
and
okay,
here,
so what
if I
was I
may-
drinking? Because I made this preposterous, suggestion that maybe TV should start looking at the fact that the online medium is getting more and more attractive to advertisers.
No, but let me also add one further dimension here, okay? And this is where television, and particularly Rohit and his team, the way they've handled this, they have actually delivered value. And they've stood by their commitment to their clients. And Anuradha talked about the fact that she's got good value out of the channel this year. And what they have done is they have been absolutely fair with their clients, and they've made sure they've delivered value. So we're not talking about the value that the channel is delivering. Okay, let's keep that aside. That's
How
a
many
given.
of your clients are on IPL?
I have about 6 of my advertisers who are on IPL, and they are getting value out of it. They're not spending as much money as
Vodafone,
Anuradha
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
because I have a point of view on that, but let's not go there. But the point is, I do have advertisers who are working with us at Spatial who are on IPL, and they're getting value out of their buys on the channel. That's not the point. The point is, what does this tournament represent? That's the fundamental issue, not whether they're getting value out of Sony. Sony will continue to deliver value, but they will deliver value in a manner and fashion that is not necessarily the best for their bottom line.
What should this tournament deliver going forward?
If people talk about this in the same breath as the Super Bowl, okay, then let us all remember that the Super Bowl is the highest rated programming event on television in the United States of America. The IPL is not that.
So you're saying this comparison that we've tended to make is fallacious?
Absolutely, it's fallacious. And the point is, you want to sort of brand it the Taj Mahal, even as it is, the foundations are being built.
Fair enough. That's the point, I think, that is, that Meenakshi is
I
making
would just like to
categorically
ask
and
you,
emphatically.
which tournament delivers over 170 million people in India?
What property?
What
delivers?
property delivers, you said that,
Well,
when
the
you're
World
comparing
Cup,
it to...
World Cup delivered much bigger numbers than that.
That happened once in 4 years.
Yeah,
And India
but-
won.
but the point is,
we
it
had
still
the
did.
2000 World Cup, and India
It
lost
still
out in the...
did, Rohit.
No, I'm just saying...
And
a
even
World Cup
when
is a
we
big-
lost the World Cup,
World
we
Cup is a
still
big
delivered
bet
bigger
because we've done
numbers.
2 World
So
Cups.
let's just think
So
about
there's
who
nothing
needs
else
to
we
do
could do.
something about it.
So what is the way forward? What should the IPL do at the BCCI level? What can the broadcaster do? And what should advertisers do?
So if you ask me, the first question is to the BCCI. It's a question of how much cricket there is happening in a year. And unlike the Super Bowl, where everyone looks forward to the tournament, it's a question of do we have too much cricket in general in the country? That's one. The other is, are BCCI's expectations on revenue out of these properties? And I'm not just talking about this, any cricketing property, are there fair expectations? So when you ask me a question of am I going to look at next year, one of the biggest questions I have in front of me right now is whether I can continue to get value out of my on ground sponsorship, because that's the one that I'm questioning in terms of the value that it's delivering to me. Third, can the broadcaster do more? I think between the BCCI and the broadcaster, the excitement around the campaign can be higher. They've tried really hard this year, and I think they've invested a lot of money and effort into it. That's a question of even better marketing. And I genuinely believe that when people get excited by it, whether it's through controversy, whether it's through marketing gimmicks, it works, and the consumer flocks to it. And finally, fourth is good cricket. And whenever we have good cricket, people watch. And when we have good players, people watch. I think what the first 3 seasons had was consistency. Unfortunately...
Also Lalit Modi. So, you know, are you all missing Lalit Modi?
Well, he set it up, so you can't, I mean, he set the entire tournament
I don't think you can miss him if you follow him on his tweets.
No, but another, I think those were very, those were points which I'm sure BCCI is listening to very, very closely. Rohit, do you think that BCCI will come up to scratch? Because...
See,
I mean, they got that jolt with Sahara.
See, when you look at IPL, while people talk about the Bollywood connection and you need, all that thing, that's important initially that you need it. Eventually, it's good cricket, so if you see any match, it goes down to the wire, the ratings are 5, 6, even today. So it's eventually got to be good cricket. And now, with the entire... And if you see the way IPL is panning out, it's getting a kind of a window, which is a window for IPL where most of the teams are going to be available. So in another week, the whole world is going to be, all the players are going to be there. So the topmost players are going to be playing. That's why we're confident that it will continue to build. As long as there's good cricket which is being played on the field and close matches, high-scoring matches, it will always be a winner. The day that stops, yes, then we've got larger issues.
I think my final question is, based on this thought that perhaps between everybody, all the stakeholders, because of the kind of money they put in, and because of, like you said, the fact that the IPL was, the success was unimaginable and unheard of, it has become the goose that lays the golden eggs. And we know what happened to that goose. So final thoughts to, on this, what is the one thought that you want to leave us with?
I think it's not in danger at all. Had the stadiums been empty, I would have been very worried and concerned. Had the games not been close games or, lopsided again, 2 teams just winning all the games, I would have been concerned. That's not happening at all.
Okay, so you're saying that we're not that, we're no crisis yet.
It's too early to kind of write up everything.
No, nobody's writing it off. I'm just saying, do you need to ensure that you don't have to write it off going forward?
No. One thing I'd like to say is that I think the biggest concern in our IPL workshop, which was in Goa, was that we need to go out all out to ensure stadiums are full.
Okay.
And all credit to BCCI, they've ensured that that's happened.
Right.
Because the worst thing we can do is when you're watching a television set and you see half the stadium empty, and that's not going to happen.
Okay. Anuradha?
I'm happy as an advertiser that I have a property to advertise on which gives me huge amounts of reach amongst my TG. So this rating in the male TG, I don't get on much other programming, especially when IPL is on, it's very difficult to reach the same people. Would I want to get better efficiencies out of it? Do I want to reach the same population with lower CPRP? Of course I do. But that's the media buyer's dream anyway. But I want to have a property like this because in the absence of this property, I mean, I'm
so what's the one thing that you would suggest that would enable this property to, not flounder further?
I think we need to make fewer changes in the property over the years. We have to let it be consistent, let the teams be consistent, let the cricket play out, let people develop loyalties. And I'm not talking as an advertiser, as a consumer. I want to be able to identify with a set of people.
I'm linking this to the question I keep making about authenticity. There is some, the product, there is just, okay, I mean, actually last final word to you.
No, I think Anuradha is right. I think the fundamental problem is that you don't feel that sense of team spirit, that you belong to a team, because the guys you were supporting, suddenly they're no longer on the team you were supporting. And so there's been absolutely a lack of consistency there, which is again one of the points of the Super Bowl. A team is a team is a team. You're rooting for a team. Here you could be rooting for a team and tomorrow the team has changed because those players that you wanted.
Or doesn't exist.
Yeah, or doesn't exist. So I I'm happy to see Anuradha and Rohit defend this, but I see serious issues that need to be addressed.
Which I
maybe
think
next
they
year
do acknowledge that there are issues. They're saying it's not as serious as you're making it out to be or I'd like it to be.
Yeah, so maybe, it's all a matter of perspective.
Right.
And let's see how it goes. And
so I think, as usual, the ball goes to the BCCI's court, isn't it? Thank you, everybody. Rohit, Anuradha, Meenakshi for joining me on this show. Thank you for watching. See you same time, same place next week.